It's a good time to be in a long short fund. Which sectors would you be long on, and which sectors are giving you an opportunity to go short right now?
So I think it's a phenomenal time to be actually in a long short equity fund because I think it's a macro-driven market, and the gyrations that you saw in February or March in terms of the decline as well as the ascent from there on are something that I think will continue over the next 5 years. This is going to be a macro-driven market, and because of which you will need a more tactical strategy in your portfolio. With interest rates so low, fixed income is not giving you the kind of returns you aspire for, but equity markets are going to be volatile. So therefore, I think it's absolutely the best time to be in a long short equity fund. It's at this moment, given what is happening with the markets. So I think the primary trend of the equity markets has really been driven by low real interest rates in the United States and the quantitative easing and the promise of keeping interest rates low for very long. At some level, I just believe that the markets are just going through a PE re-rating all over the world, including that of India. So we have kind of just front-loaded the PE expansion of equity markets worldwide. With the growth of economies still debatable. I'm not saying that we are not necessarily going to grow very fast, but I think there's still going to be some camps which believe that the growth may not be as we were used to in the past. So while the growth rates are still debatable, my sense is that given the liquidity that has been kind of unleashed in the global markets, we are certainly front-loading the PE expansion that is happening in the markets. Given that context, your question, what are you shorting? I think at this moment, a lot of boats are being kind of uplifted. Having said that, in the Indian context, I'm a little wary of cyclicals, especially late-stage cyclicals such as capital goods, or at least those kind, which I think prospects of which will continue to remain anemic for quite some time to come.
Okay. Rajesh, good morning and thanks for joining us today. I'm looking at some of the strategic longs that you have, interesting names on that list. You've got Bharti Airtel, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a lot of debate around this stock because it had this dramatic rise all the way to 600 plus. And then since then, it's almost sort of tumbled. So what's the thesis here? Because it's got this big competitor in the form of Reliance itself. What thoughts on telecom?
So yes, I mean, we own both the companies in the telecom space. While, we would want to make sure that we don't, debate stocks, individually too much. But I could say that Bharti has been a bit of an humbling experience. Clearly, the thesis of the market has been, and that's the thesis that we've had as well, which is either the third player exits the business or the average revenue per user kind of evolves to a higher level. Clearly, I think while that has been the high thesis of the market and continues to be, the market wisdom is pricing in something else. Maybe I think the market is pricing in that the rate of increase that we were expecting in ARPU is going to be far slower, as we move forward. So I think, that's really the outlook. Hopefully that will change. And I think if it has to change, a lot of that will be required from the government. I think the government will have to come and kind of step in and say that we require a base, a floor ARPU, as you move forward to change the dynamics of this investment thesis.
Rajesh, you're tactically short the pharmaceutical sector. Do you think the run-up has been a bit excessive? The stocks are trading ahead of their fundamentals. And which stocks, particularly in the pharma pack, do you not like for the short near term?
No. Actually, I don't think that's a sector call. We are actually overweight on pharmaceuticals. As we speak, there is a company-specific name that we had shorted, and that is really to do with the company dynamics, individual company dynamics, rather than the sector. As we speak, I think we are, we don't have that short, and we have more longs in the pharma space.
Okay, understood. So, pharma, telecom, some of the long bets that you have. Anything fresh you're thinking of? Because we're going through this whole unlock phase, Rajesh. I mean, look at what consumer stocks are doing, right? I mean, companies like Titan saying they're practically back to pre-COVID levels. Auto sales have been so robust. So how are you playing the unlock story?
I think our maximum overweight has been for the last few months, actually, the IT sector. And that's what I spoke about the last time, I was on the channel as well. That has been a significant holding for us, both on the strategic and the tactical book that we've had. And we continue to kind of like that space. There is some, recent news flow around companies. Some of the banks have kind of given you guidance on how they are growing their asset book. And of course, some consumer companies have also kind of given you guidance. We are actually looking at that and saying, what we have seen worldwide is a concentration of income among individuals. Equally, we are seeing a concentration of profits among corporates. So my sense is that, is it possible that some of these companies are doing well in spite of the environment is because of the gravitation towards of business and profits towards some of these larger leadership companies in their respective spaces. So that's really, I think, our thesis is that there could be a more gravitation of business and profits towards some of the leadership companies in their respective sectors.